We go. Good evening, all. This is Liz Whitaker of Divination Station Tarot. Thank you for joining in this week. I did take a week off last week. I really just needed just a week off, but I am back and I am ready to go. So I'm going to give a couple minutes for people to join in. Like I said, I know I took a week off, and sometimes that gets kind of throws everyone's schedule a little off, mine included. So yeah, I'll give people a few moments to join in. It is Monday, which is the day of the moon, which is also the card we're going to go over today. So I'm really looking forward into deep diving the moon. Monday is day of the moon, so Monday is moon day. The moon is in Aries right now for a couple days. The moon will be new, so new moon on Wednesday. That will be in Taurus. And we just entered Taurus season as well. So I do want to say, happy birthday to any Taurians out there. Just started your season. My Venus is in Taurus. So all of those... I really like the comfy coziness, comfy blankets, snacks, things like that. Like I said, we'll give people a few minutes to jump on here. If you are joining in, please say hi, introduce yourself. Let me know where you're from. Let me know your pronouns, and just kind of pop in, say how you're doing. I forgot my water bottle today. Luckily, there is a water fountain down there. So welcome to Divination Station, brought to you by True Paranormal, the podcast. I am Liz Whitaker, your host for this broadcast. Today, we will be talking about the moon. And there it is, the moon. So we will be talking about the moon. And I will follow up with some sample readings. I will go ahead, just bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and share this video out. Make sure this gets shared to the places that I normally do. And when you join the podcast, please drop in, say hi. I'm not always notified when you join in, especially if you're not necessarily, if you haven't liked Three of Cups yet, it might not show me. And I have a feeling that comments are a little bit behind because I'm already showing them a little bit behind. So yeah, drop your name, where you're from, and your pronouns in the comments. If you're watching a replay, please comment #replay. That way I can go in and make sure that I address, and see everybody there. And I can address any questions or anything that you have down there. I will be doing readings, so please share the video out, share it in your feed, share it with any groups, anything like that. Hashtag your friends that you think might be interested. That allows our reach to grow. TT Jones, hi. That allows our organic reach to grow and will help everyone involved. Again, just got to share this out just a couple more places. Got some people joining in now. TT, you're new. Awesome. Roshi, hello. So if you are new, just go ahead, and I love to know where you're from. So let me know where you're watching from. Your pronouns, if you want to drop that in there. A little bit about the show. My name is Liz Whitaker. I do have a tarot reading business based out of Buffalo, New York. That is Divination Station. I am doing phone readings, email, text, video chat, anything like that, only right now. On this broadcast, what I do is I do a mini lesson. So happy Monday. Caitlin, hi. So to get a reading, what we need to do is share the post and comment #shared. If you see Caitlin, she has sharer up there. That generally happens when you share it. It will automatically capture it. I do keep a list, so I do the readings at the end of the show. And I live in Windsor Mills, Maryland. Okay, good. I like Maryland. So that's, how to get a reading is share the broadcast out, comment #shared, and I will get to the readings at the end of the broadcast. Okay, there we go. So I do start a list, and a couple times I will go ahead and read that list to make sure that I have everyone. I definitely don't try to skip anyone. Sometimes Facebook comments are a bit behind, or they don't notify me in time. So if that happens, please contact me. If you want to shoot me a message, if I do happen to miss, sometimes if you're in a watch party, the comments will go there and I don't see them. So there's all sorts of ways that Facebook makes it really annoying for us. All right, TT. So today we are talking about the moon. So my lessons are following the Fool's Journey. If you are new to tarot and new to the show, each broadcast I tackle. Okay, it's fine. Sometimes it's delayed. I got you down. Don't worry about it. Sometimes Facebook comments get a bit delayed. So with the tarot, the Fool's Journey looks at the major arcana. Okay, so those big cards in the front, right? The first 22 cards. So I have been looking at each one of those and sharing about the card, giving you a little bit of insight how to interpret it when it comes up in a reading for yourself, for others, anything like that. So today we are at the moon. So what feelings, and you can feel free to comment as I'm going along. I do like this to be as interactive as I can, so definitely feel free to comment. I'll pop in and check. What feelings do you get from the moon? When you see a big, beautiful full moon, how do you feel? When it's a nice, clear, crisp winter night and you can really see the moon, how do you feel? The moon is all about reflection, intuition, are some of the main keywords for the moon. Sorry about that. Instinct. What are you feeling? What are you feeling here? Love. So it kind of fills us with those really strong emotions. And love makes sense. Love in the tarot is represented by water. The moon is represented by the element of water. So it's a water card. Mystery is another keyword for the tarot, or for the moon. The moon is represented by water. It's Pisces. So every zodiac sign has a corresponding major arcana card. Pisces is represented by the moon. So you have all of that watery, sensitive goodness in there. It's planetary correspondence is Jupiter and Neptune. So Jupiter, expansion. Jupiter's all about expanding. How is that represented in the moon? The moon is all about getting in touch with your intuition, with your emotions. What are you feeling intuitively? Neptune. Neptune is all about transcendence. Neptune is all about deep diving those really deep emotional depths. Okay, that's really what Pisces is all about too. If you've known a Pisces, they tend to be very, very intuitive. They tend to be almost like, I don't want to say spacey in a bad way, but they have a tendency to be a little bit otherworldly, and they are, very sensitive. They love nature, very hippie vibe, very new agey vibe. And I don't say that in a pejorative way. I don't say that in a bad way. It's just kind of how Pisces is. When the moon comes up, you might be called to do some deep dive into what your emotions are, what you're feeling right now, why you're feeling them, kind of how to navigate those. So we'll talk about how these things are represented in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I do use the Rider-Waite-Smith deck for my main lessons, and then we go over different representations in different decks once I kind of wrap this up. So if you see here, you see that crayfish? The crayfish comes up from the depths, right? The crayfish is a bottom feeder. It's on the bottom of creeks and small rivers and streams. Pisces moon, oh my gosh. Pisces moon, absolutely. They're very intuitive. Facebook looks real glitchy on my end, so I do apologize. It keeps like flashing in and out. So if it's getting weird, sorry about that. Monica, got you. So it is, the crayfish brings stuff up from the bottom, the silt, the different layers that have kind of settled down when it comes up. And that's what the moon does with us in our emotions. It stirs things up. If we are trying to ignore things, if the moon comes up, that's your key to stop ignoring it. You got to face this. You got to address it. Stop pushing it down. It's only going to come up later, and you're not going to be able to kind of control it as much. You have the two figures. So we have a dog, so the tamed, the domestic side. And then we have the wolf, which is the wild side that works on intuition. Hi from Southern Cal. Hi. Hello from Buffalo. So you have those two sides here. So the moon has that idea of duality. So instead of necessarily dark and light, we have, that tamed domestic side that we know what we have to do and how to do it. And we have that wild side that we really want to listen to what we want to do instinctively. Actually, one of the ways that I'm going to describe this right now is my sleeping patterns. I am currently temporarily laid off from my day job, so I don't necessarily have to wake up in the morning. Hi, Megan. We'll say the domestic side is the side that gets up, at 7 o'clock in the morning, gets ready, goes to work. That's that trained domestic side. The instinctual side, that more wild side, wakes up for a little bit around 7, feeds the cats, comes back, does a couple things, and I go back to sleep for a couple hours. That's what my body wants to do instinctively. My body doesn't mind. I don't mind waking up in the morning, but apparently I don't like staying awake in the morning. So that's just an example that popped into my head of how to. Hi, Milagros. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. So that's, just in my very recent life, that's kind of an example of how that works. So we have that tamed dog and the wild wolf. And they're both, they both will howl at the moon. And here, we have the moon, and the sun. So again, that duality. We have the towers in the background. And we've seen these towers several times throughout the deck. They're, the gates to heaven, the towers of heaven. We've seen those, and they kind of get closer as we get towards the end of the deck because the Fool's on that journey. Nicola. Hello from Connecticut. So I do readings at the end. I got you, Roshi. I do readings at the end. All you got to do is share the video out, hashtag shared. I do try to keep track. I'll check in a couple times during the broadcast before I start the readings to make sure I have everyone. And we'll get there probably about 20-ish minutes or so. So go ahead, stick with me, watch the lesson, get a little more familiar with some of the cards, and I gotcha. And that way the readings tend to resonate a little bit more. So that's the moon. So when we're talking about the things the moon brings up, those emotions, I'm going to do a real brief touch on shadow work. So real quick definition of shadow work. It is a term that was kind of conceptualized and written about by Carl Jung. A lot of tarot has some Jungian concepts in there, the archetypes, things like that. But shadow work and the moon. Shadow work is getting to know your dark side, getting to know the things that you might not, it might not be in the, that first list of ways to describe yourself to others. Shadow work are things that we might find shameful. We might find ugly about ourselves. And I'm not talking about in the face, because you're all beautiful. Or unacceptable, something that's been deemed unacceptable in some way, shape, or form, whether it's from your family, whether it's from society, whether it's from, anything, your own expectations. Shadow work is really taking that look at yourself. What do I find shameful? What don't I want people to know about myself right away? That's shadow work. So what do you do with that? It's a really good tool for self-reflection. You can learn a lot about yourself when you deep dive shadow work. It is not easy. If you are looking to get into shadow work, I don't suggest that you assume that it's going to take, a few journal entries. It takes meditation. It takes a lot of journal entries. It really takes a desire and a willingness to look at the sides of yourself that you are not so proud of and really dissect where that comes from. Why? Why do I feel that way about myself? Where does that come from? Where do these shameful feelings come from? You can trace it back to, like I said, family roots or society. If you grew up in a community, a very small, tight-knit community, small towns, they tend to look down on certain things, different places of different things, but you can really deep dive. Why do I feel that way? Where does it come from? And you might say, okay, that's a part of myself. I don't particularly care for it. And what you do next is up to you. Do you want to make adjustments to your life to eliminate that part? Or do you want to kind of recognize it? I see this, I see you. And just knowing about it can sometimes help you kind of manage its manifestation in your own behavior. Cases that's super dark secret that you do not want people to know, you don't want to accept about yourself, that's true. Absolutely. 100%. That is exactly what shadow side and shadow work is. Again, it is not easy. It is not quick. It can be painful. It can hurt. It hurts. It sucks to look at the parts of us that we don't like. Our ego wants to look at the parts of ourselves that we like, that we love, that we want to just show everybody. But looking inward, kind of shedding that ego self, again, using some Jungian terms here, it's hard. And we all have a shadow side. We all have things that we don't particularly care about or aren't particularly proud of. But there are reasons for it, right? We don't grow up in a vacuum. We don't develop these in a vacuum. Yes, counseling, therapy go hand in hand with shadow work. A lot of people do shadow work in therapy. If you are looking to do shadow work, it's not a bad idea to have that in the back of your head. Hey, maybe I need this addressed. I think everybody should go through it once, twice, forever in their life. Hi, Kaylee. So that is shadow work. And the moon, when the moon comes up, it might mean, depending on what's around it, that you need to do some. And like I said, it takes a long time. It takes a long time to recognize that you might even need to do it. So other things that when I pull the moon, other things that I think of are the actual moon. Where is the moon right now? I do astrology work as well. You'll often hear my readings calling into play different astrological things. So moon magic is definitely a part of my practice as a human and as a witch. I do look to the moon. It's good to kind of keep track of, know where the moon is. Right now, the moon is in Aries. So knowing what that energy does, right? Aries is it's very competitive. It's very upbeat. It's very motivated. So what does that mean for this time? There are certain things, certain activities that are beneficial to do at certain moon phases. Just good to look into. There's plenty of resources out there. It's good to track, like I said, see where the moon is. We're a couple days out from the new moon. I like to track it for sleep disturbances. I know a lot of people tend to have trouble sleeping when like the full moon's coming up. Personally, I tend to have more sleeping issues towards the new moon. My sleep is disrupted more. Why? I don't know. But it's just knowing that I might behave a little bit differently the next few days. I might, do a little bit more extended kind of wind down routine. I might extend meditation time or even do it fine. I don't meditate as much as I should. That's part of my shadow work, right? I might do that around the new moon because I know, me personally, my sleep gets disrupted a little bit more. I wake up, I fall asleep, fine. I have no issue falling asleep. It's staying asleep. I woke up super confused at 11:30 last night after having been asleep for an hour and a half or so, really confused. And then again at like 1:30, 3:30. So it's good to track those things so moon magic. A lot of witches do certain rituals or spells at different phases of the moon. Real quick, new moon, great for setting intentions. New moon's on Wednesday in Taurus. What do you want to do? What do you want to do for this next moon cycle? Set those intentions. Full moon, good for banishing magic. What do I want to eliminate? And the way that I remember this is after the new moon gets bigger. So I want my intentions to grow and manifest. Full moon, we start here. This is thing, right? If we want to banish a thing, the moon gets smaller. And we want to banish it. So that's just a real quick, easy way for me to remember that. Also the moon. For anyone that does, have a menstrual cycle, maybe track that with the phases of the moon. That's a really good way too. A lot of will refer to that as their moon time. Let's see, what else do I got here? Yeah, so by the time we get to the moon, we've had that tower. We've had that tower moment, right? We've had our world shaken up. We've had that moment where we wake up and we're in the star right before the moon. That star was that hope and renewal. And the moon, we look at what that tower moment has made us realize about ourselves. We look at what that hope and inspiration from the star, we look at how that is in alignment with our inner self. The moon is, all of those things that the night brings. One of the, it's kind of what everything happens, everything at night is a little bit different, right? If you go outside and you see something illuminated by the sun in the day, and then you go out at night, it looks different. It has a different quality. It's enchanted. It's bathed in this beautiful silvery light, and it looks different. That's what the moon does. We might see something in that moonlit illuminated landscape that we find a little bit frightening. We didn't notice in the daylight. And the moon wants us to kind of get familiar with that and work with it. When we do shadow work, that's what we do. So that's the moon. Intuition, instinct. What do we feel? What do we want to do? How do we feel about ourselves, that inner self, that moonlight, those moonlit nights? Can also have to do with like dreams, dreamland, dream interpretation. Having some activity in my house. Are you having like spiritual activity, like entity activity? And yeah, that can also influence the kind of that dream time. So if the moon is showing up, check and see how you're sleeping. Are you having weird dreams? Maybe do a deep dive into what your dreams are showing you. And that's the Rider-Waite-Smith moon. I do want to take a quick sponsor break before we look into the other decks. Divination Station Tarot is brought to you by True Paranormal, the podcast. Leo Rizzuti takes you on a journey into the supernatural, the mysterious, and the strange, things that cannot be explained. Join in by following True Paranormal, the podcast on Facebook, where you'll be treated to spooky stories and tips for your own investigations. So check out Leo Rizzuti at True Paranormal, the podcast. All right. Nicola, have you tried, and I'm just going to do a real quick aside. If you want to message me separately, go to Divination Station. I always pop in my page in the comments. We can have a discussion of that. I just don't want to take up too much of this time to go over that, but I'm more than happy to talk to you about that and how that can, what those manifestations can look like and what they can mean. So we'll chat a little bit about that after, if you don't mind. But yeah, all of those things that kind of come out at night. So again, we always look at a few different decks, and right now for shares, I'm just going to go through the list real quick of people that have shared. Caitlin, Roshi, Kimberly, Kay, Titi, Monica, Milagros, Nicola, Anissa, and Chris Mendrifel. I'm sorry, I may have written that name down. No, don't. You don't have to apologize at all. It's totally fine. Can you talk about some common pairings with the moon and how to tell one meaning from another? Sure. So when the moon comes up, and I'm going to say just mathematically, I don't know that there are common pairings with the moon, just because you don't really know what's going to come up with the moon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my deck out, and yes, so I will do a quick shout out here. Stephanie just said she liked my shirt. I got it from her Little Buffalo Boutique. She has amazing clothes, amazing deals. I think I have a couple more things on the way. But yeah, I did get this from her shop. Let me just bend this down here. Great color. It's an amazing, beautiful color. So yeah, I love it. So with the moon, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick a card here, and we're going to talk about a couple pairings. So this is Page of Cups. So if I got Page of Cups and the Moon, Page of Cups is also about intuition and awesome. So we have Page of Cups and the Moon. So two cards that are really about intuition in a little bit different ways. Page of Cups is all about intuition and like with other people. So Page of Cups is someone that is very, very charming, very childlike, energy, like enthusiasm, wants to share like new artistic endeavors. So with the Moon is all about your intuition. So when this comes up, it might be, someone's going to pop up and really kind of say all the right things, do all the right things. And then the Moon is kind of telling you to make sure that your intuition is, that you're not getting kind of overwhelmed or overtaken by this other person. So that's kind of how I would interpret those two together. So basically the Moon tells you to use your intuition in the situation. So we'll say the situation is Two of Cups. Two of Cups is the Lover, is the minor arcana version of the Lovers. So with this and the Moon, Two of Cups is all about partnership, that kind of true partnership with another person. I would say what I'm getting right now with this combo is this person is going to really be a reflection, and you're going to want to be better. You're going to want to look and do that shadow work. You're going to want to see like, okay, why have I done this in relationships before? And you might do a deep dive, see why you do it, and maybe not do it anymore. And Kay, please let me know if this is helpful, if this is kind of what you mean. And I'll do one more. So if I pulled Ace of Pentacles and the Moon, what I would think, first off, these symbols, they look similar, just visually, they're both very prominent in the card, both big, round, and yellow. Very simple. So what does that mean? This, I would say there's an opportunity in that possibly that financial realm, kind of an opportunity coming that might seem, and this is just kind of what's coming through right now. If it seems too good to be true, really do a deep dive and see what your instincts are telling you. Oh, I didn't mean to, but maybe I was. Thank you, Kay. So that's, kind of really tuning into your intuition to whatever is being presented for you. And now we'll look at the Moon in different decks. I always look at Tarot of the Cat People. So this one, we kind of have a really a waning crescent moon is what it looks like to me. And then we have the figure all kind of cloaked in that lovely, that deep blue. And then we have the leopard also reflecting the blue. So this, to me, this screams shadow work to me. We have those deep moonlit, the moon's lighting up and all of the crevices are dark. So what's in those dark, deep, cavernous areas there? So that's Tarot of the Cat People. And this is a deck that I've had since I was 16. So I like to bring it out. One of the other major systems of tarot is the Tarot de Marseille. And, these, again, are always a little bit more straightforward, a little bit simpler. We have everything represented here. We have that crayfish coming up. We have that stirring of all of the inner workings. We have the wolf and the dog. We have that moon kind of covering the sun, and we have those little energies. So these things here are like are like energy droplets, is the best way I can explain them. So anytime you see those little, I believe they're called yods, and where did I put it? So here they're all yellow. So anytime you see those, it's energy. It's basically energy surrounding, falling, anything like that. The tower has some. So those little things do have a purpose. You know, everything in tarot has its meaning, for better or worse. I don't want to say it's frustrating, but like every once in a while, I'll like look at a card and I'm like, I never even noticed that. What is that? So there's always something new to study, you know. So here is, and this one is in French, so La Lune. This is a Tarot de Marseille. And again, colors are very important in this. So we have a lot of those reds and yellows. So reds are that like passion, that feeling, and then yellow is that kind of like happiness, energetic feeling. So it really asks us to look inward at that. And oh, one of the first things I'm doing when I can is get a haircut, because this is getting ridiculous. Just putting it out there. Sorry. It gets real heavy on my neck, and my hair looks like nice and light and fine, but the longer it gets, the more like heavy and annoying it gets. So the Thoth deck. So there's a lot here. So I'm going to kind of show the bottom, and then we're going to go up to the top. So here, and like I've never noticed this until talking about it right now. Thank you, Kay. These look like, it looks like waves, like sine waves, and like when you're taking calculus and you have to put in those, you know, plug in the figures, and that's kind of what that looks like. So again, you know, I did not notice that until just now. I don't work with this deck a lot, but it is one of the other major tarot systems, so it is always worth mentioning. So here we have, in front of the two towers, we have the dog. So we have that. We have Anubis, and then more of like this isn't really coming through. So we have those the two dog figures down there, and then we have the two Anubis figures. One might be something else, I'm not positive. Anyway, and then we have the scarab holding the sun down here, and then up here we have the moon in the middle with the energies coming down, and you know and here we'll have the sign for Pisces, and then the Hebrew letter associated with the moon. I did get a new deck, because of course I did. This is the Lightseers Tarot. I will be featuring this a little bit more. If you follow me on Divination Station, I think I'm going to do a couple lives this week, just to do some quick readings with this so I can get more familiar with it. When it first came out, it's kind of one of those like hype decks that everybody was like all about, and I didn't really get it. I was like, I don't know, I guess it's pretty, it looks kind of hippy dippy to me, but whatever. But I watched a live of a woman doing readings with it, and I was like, that is a really gorgeous deck. So I got it. And it's so positive. Like the meanings are like, it just invokes like such positivity, and just like every card feels like, you know, when you get those like inspirational messages on your tea bags, like that's what these cards remind me of. So we have down here that like mermaid figure, you know, she's underneath, and then we have the moon, and we have the dark and the light on the two sides. So it's a little bit it's a little bit simplified, but it really invokes the depth underneath. It's almost like, like an iceberg, right? You only see the tip. You only see what's showing above the water. And underneath is where like so much of the action and like activity is. So I do intend on using this for some readings going forward. I did also bring, and it was one of my like sought after decks. It's Tarot of the Silicone Dawn. It's such a gorgeous, unique deck. So here we have a female presenting figure kind of languishing, you know, she's like chilling on the moon. And then we see that like crayfish tail or that scorpion tail kind of curling around. And then we have down here the dog kind of like swimming in the shadow of that moon. And I just love this deck. I also brought Osho Zen Tarot. This one is Past Lives. So Osho Zen Tarot is really good for bringing a little bit of a different interpretation to them. So past lives, right? When I was talking about shadow work, some of that can have to do with the spirit realm, right? What generational trauma are we bringing? Not even necessarily in the past lives of, you know, I was such in a previous life, but more so previous incarnations of ourself, our childhood self, you know, our teenage self, our middle school self. Those are all past lives. And those all build up to where we are right now. Those all build into our, like, the human experience. So past lives, that's kind of what I take from that. And it is kind of supported by two lizards and kind of holding up, and you have a bunch, you know, some multicultural people in this like hourglass bubble. So that's kind of how I would say look into that. So like I was saying about the shadow work, it all, it's all cumulative, you know, where we end up in right now. So the last card I'm going to go over right now before we jump into the tarot tip of the week. This one is this Starchild Tarot. Starman Tarot. Starchild Tarot is a totally different deck. Totally different deck. So this is Starman Tarot. So this is a really busy deck. This is one of the least busy cards in a very busy deck. It was created by the artist who created a lot of David Bowie's art. So there's a lot of Bowie-esque things in here because it's the same artist. So here we have that moon. And then we have the kind of two faces, lighter, reflected. And we have those figures down there. So those are kind of reminiscent of the dog and the wolf, the light and the dark. And that is the Starman Tarot. So tarot tip of the week. Didn't really write one, so I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. Getting back into your practice. So if, you know, for whatever reason, you kind of go for a little bit and you don't really touch your cards, you know, Triple Goddess. Oh yeah, that's, I'm going to actually look at that again. That is, yeah, which, you know, brings about another correlation of the moon and Hecate and the Triple Goddess, the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. So that's a whole nother, like, that's a whole nother live right there. But yeah, I didn't even see that in there, but that is, yeah. I can definitely see that in there. So getting back to tarot. So there's so many reasons why we might get away from a practice, daily, weekly, whatever. Like I said last week, I just really needed a break. I needed a week off, so I took it. And how did I get back? Well, I got a new deck, so that helped. I got the Light Seers Tarot, so I really just started back to basics. And that's kind of what I suggest if you get away from it for a little bit, or if it's feeling like you're not really getting what you used to out of it. Really figure out why, see what's not calling to you. Maybe take a break. And then when you get back to basics. I do my card pulls in the morning. You know, with the Light Seers Tarot, I really do the looking at the card, really feeling what the card is showing me. And then I do look at the guidebook that came with it because, like I said, she's actually got really cool. It's by Chris Ann, is the author of this deck, and I actually really like it. She has little like sayings, and I really like those. Like I said, these are it's very like inspirational. So I'll look at this. So for the moon, it's I am safe. And I reach new levels of unconscious knowing as I surrender to the will of the universe. So it's kind of all of those good things really put together in a little like sentence. So I'll still sit there with the guidebook if I get a new deck and it's a little bit of a departure. So yeah, I'll sit down, I'll pull a card, up to 3. I don't really do more than 3 daily. Just because, especially right now, I mean, I'm not really doing much during the day, just being honest. Not an essential worker. So my days are pretty, not much happens. So just getting back to basics, you know, getting a tarot journaling going and just pulling a card. What do I feel? What do I see? And just get back to basics. All right. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and read kind of as in order as I can of when you shared. If I miss you, please comment and let me know. Again, I really only get the comments that are on the main video from the 3 of Cups Divine Arts page. So if you are commenting someone else, plenty of witching. I do actually have a project that I held out when I'm past, so I should grab that. Plenty of witching. Actually, I redid my Etsy shop, so I'm going to start putting some stuff up there. So if you do follow me, my page is Divination Station. Like I said, I'll go ahead and pop a link down in here so you can follow that if you'd like. And I will start to share some of the things that I am, some of the witchy goods that I'm making that I kind of want to get out there and share. So like I said, if I am missing you in the lives, please just let me know, you know, and I'll get you a card. So like I said, sort of in order, we have Caitlin. And if you are on, let me know. If you're not, that's fine too. I'll still get a card for you. You'll catch it in the replay, I'm sure. All right. So I'm going to throw my page link down there as soon as Facebook allows it. So Caitlin, this is yours. Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups. One of the challenges we're facing right now, we're not able to show affection or care in ways that we're used to doing. If you are a person that thrives on touch and you are not the same without, you know, your daily hug, this Ace of Cups is really challenging you to kind kind of how else can I feel love if I can't get a hug? And really look into and this is difficult because it is difficult. If you are a person that thrives on that kind of human contact or just ability to, get together with friends and, share time and space, it's really challenging your love language right now. And again, this is for Caitlin. So I would say really look at what your love language is. If it is touch, if it is quality time, and you happen to not be quarantined with a person that you want to spend quality time with, it's literally making you face love. Like you have to come up with a new way to love. And, for some, if it's acts of service, that might be a bit of, I don't want to say easier because social distancing, but that could be a way, to show love right now. Words of affirmation, switching up to words of affirmation instead of touch or quality time. It might feel weird, but it might be, that new opportunity to kind of build those skill sets. I know that's something that I'm not super good with, is words of affirmation, mostly to the people that I'm closest with, which sounds so dumb, but, like my family, my parents, I see them often enough, or I talk to them often enough. I don't, it's not like I always have to say, hey, I appreciate everything I do for you and I love you. Maybe I should. That's my shadow word. Anyway, yeah, it's really forcing us to rethink that. All right. So again, if you're on, give me some feedback. I would definitely love if you did follow my link to Divination Station and did write a review of either the show or the reading. That would be awesome. But again, not necessary. Roshi, I know this was your first time and you did share, so let's see what we got for you. Knight of Wands. Wands are all about fire, and knights are messengers. Knight of Wands is very courageous and very like actions first. Actions speak, and that's it. So right now you might be in a spot where you are really feeling like you kind of want to go do all the things. You might have some pent up energy. So what I would say for you right now is how can you kind of expel some of that energy in a safe way right now so you don't start to feel like you're going to explode. Because that Knight of Wands energy really wants to get out there. And, we're in a weird spot right now. So really kind of look at how you can get out. And I don't want to just say like exercise because that's kind of a cop-out thing, but, going for a walk, doing some cleaning can get some energy out. Gardening, anything like that where you're kind of getting some energy out. So that is for Roshi. And Kimberly is next. Joanne, yes, they really do. And like I'm glad I kind of got that new deck and kind of got back into it because yeah, last week I just needed a break. But since I've gotten back into it, I was like, how did I even not do this? Like, how did I get through like a week? All right, so Kimberly is next. And I don't write down your last name, so I'm sorry. So Kimberly, the Chariot. And the Chariot is all about moving forward, but in a balanced way. It's looking at the options in front of you. So we have that light and the dark. We have the black and the white Sphinx down there. So it's all about balance. It's looking at the options in front of us. It does represent Cancer. So it does represent another water sign. Very protective. Whereas the Knight of Wands just kind of wants to bust out. The Chariot is making a very detailed list of how they're going to move forward. So there's a lot of emotional input is kind of what's coming through. Let me know if that makes sense, but it's all about moving forward, but doing so in a balanced way. And yeah, emotional input is really the message that's coming through. So you're kind of thinking things through a lot, but also really letting your intuition kind of, steer your ultimate choice. All right. Kay, you are next. You are welcome. All right. And again, for Kay, King of Cups. So King of Cups, a lot of cups, a lot of emotions going on today, apparently. King of Cups is the master of the suit of cups. So master of emotions. Like, how is that even a thing, right? So it is someone, yeah, like overthinking. Yep. Really let your intuition, this is for Kim, really let your intuition ultimately guide your decision with that. So again, Kay, King of Cups. Very full of emotion, very eager and willing to show that emotion for others. But when it comes to yourself, really do a check and make sure that you know where your own emotions lie with things. King of Cups energy is really good at giving others support and knowing what they need, but not always being so good at knowing what you need. So kind of do a deep dive of that and really get in touch with your emotions. Down here, the King of Cups doesn't actually touch the water. He is above it. So he is surrounded by it, but he's not actually in it. So that can be, I got you, Milagros. I did not yet. You're coming up. So really kind of get in touch with your own emotions so others can do for you what you do for them. So that's for Kay. All right, and another new TT is next. And I know this is your first broadcast, so if you, have any feedback from me, let me know. Queen of Wands. So Queen of Wands, she's known as the Witch Queen. She can kind of like control, like command a room when she walks in. Very powerful, feminine energy. She takes up, like you can kind of see, she's kind of doing the man spread there. But her skirts are covering it. So she comes in and, she kind of like spreads out. She takes up space. She's very passionate, very sensual. So maybe getting in touch with that side of you right now, where like sensuality, that bright sunniness, even if it's just for yourself, really get in touch with that. It's all about energy. And, so what came through with this is unbridled feminine energy. So let me know if that resonates for you. Again, that was for TT. And Monica is next. And I really did miss doing a show last week. So I did miss all of you. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I am going to try to get to my office at least once a day. That's where I am right now. To either get some readings in. Awesome. To get some readings in or to do some work, build my spell bags, get them up on Etsy. So, really kind of trying to have some semblance of a schedule, because right now I don't. All right, again, Monica is next. Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is collaboration, cooperation, working together. So very traditionally, the card shows three figures. We have the architect who is designing the project, the kind of monk in the back who wants the work done in his abbey, his church there, and then we have the craftsman that's doing it. So everybody has their specialty, and coming together, we can have a better product than trying to do everything ourselves. So right now, make sure that you're asking for help in the things that you need help in. And it's not that you can't do it, but think of like areas of specialization. What is your specialty and where can you ask for help to kind of support that? And again, that is for Monica, Three of Pentacles. Cooperation. When we all work together, the output can sometimes be much better. All right, so Milagros, you are up next. All right. Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is all about perfection, putting in the work. Very detail-oriented work. Are you really pushing yourself to be productive in this moment? And I'm not sure what, it's work, but I don't know if you are still working right now, if you're an essential worker. But right now I'm seeing that you are really feeling the drive and push to perfection. Hi. To really, and maybe right now isn't the time to really push yourself to perfection. Still do the work, still put the work in, but be a little bit kind to yourself when it comes to perfection. Perfection stalls progress. Progress is important. Perfection is unattainable. So again, that was for Milagros. Hi, Liz. And that was Eight of Pentacles. All right, Nicola is next. And if you have just joined, I know I had a few people pop in recently. I am doing some readings. All you got to do is share the feed out, put hashtag shared, and I'll get a card for you. All right, and Nicola is next, and I believe Nicola from Connecticut. Page of Swords. Page of Swords is all about being ready for action, being equipped for action, but not quite having the expertise to back that up. What does it mean? Yes, be kind to yourself. That's exactly what I was getting through with that. You're working hard, but don't push yourself to the point where, you feel like you have to reach some perfection that doesn't exist. Nicola, Page of Swords. He's almost, it almost feels like he's like red in the face from like getting ready for a battle that he's not going to fight in. So that's kind of what it feels like where you are right now. You are like getting ready for this battle. You're equipping yourself for this battle, but it's not there yet. Like it hasn't happened and it might not happen. So you're almost working yourself up for nothing. Let me know if that resonates. And I know we're going to chat for a little bit after this. So, maybe we could talk about that when we get off, but that's kind of what I'm getting with that. All right, so we have Anissa. It'll be fine. Liz, it'll be good. I promise. Okay, this is for Anissa. 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups is all about really doing a deep dive of where you are at and making a conscious decision to walk away from something that really doesn't serve you anymore. It may be something that in the past you have really gotten, it's really been very supportive for you, but it's almost like you've outgrown it. It can be a relationship. Sometimes it's even a job or a living situation where you thought, like at one point it was perfect for you, but right now it's not serving you. So follow your intuition. Water. Follow your intuition and really don't try to force something. Don't try to stick with something that really doesn't feel right anymore. So that's kind of what's coming through right there. Again, that was for Anissa. That's 8 of Cups. All right, so we have Christina next. And then after that, we do have Jenna and Liz. If you did share and I have not read your card yet or called your name, just throw me a comment down there and I'll make sure to get to you. The Empress. This is for Christina. Again, so the Empress is all about its creation. It's the feminine energy of creation. Does have that Taurus energy. We did just enter Taurus season. So she's all about comfort and a little bit of that like wild woman in the woods feeling, or glamping came into mind. So I don't know if that's a thing that you've ever done, or, you know, really setting out, you know, a patio in the back that has, you know, really comfortable furniture. You're not really roughing it. Like, you like to be in nature, but you also like to be comfortable. So right now, you know, kind of tap into that creative energy. Really do, you know, figure out what makes you feel alive is kind of what's coming through, and create that. And also comfort, you know, again, that Venus energy, that Taurus energy, that kind of really just taking it easy, being comfortable, and then tapping into that creative side. All right, Jenna, you're up next. And Page of Swords for you. So Jenna, Page of Swords. You are having a more difficult time holding back than you normally do. Right now you have a lot of things to say and you're having a difficult time holding it back. You're having a difficult time not wielding that sword. Swords are our thoughts, our communication. So right now you are really, you're holding back, which is, I think, a good thing right now. So that's kind of what's coming through for you with this Page of Swords. And maybe not exactly telling people, you wish you didn't have to hold back, but you are. You kind of have a lot of things to say, and it's different. It's a little bit different for you to hold it back. So that's what I'm getting for Jenna. Christina, you do need to feel, yes. And that's really what's coming through, Christina, for you, is really figuring out what you can do right now to make you really to do that, and really taking self-care time. This is again for Christina. I mean, heck, this is for everybody. Take some self-care time, pamper yourself a little bit. Yeah, Jenna, yeah. That's kind of what came through. Um, I think a lot of us are kind of there, but you're like, it's like, like you're right there, or your fingers are like, and a friend calls those itchy bitchy fingers, where she really wants to let loose on the internet, but she has learned through shadow work to pull that back a little bit. All right, so Liz, you are up next. And let's see. King of Swords. See, that's not so bad. So King of Swords is logical. It is the masculine energy of the suit of swords. So we pulled a Page of Swords just now. Page of Swords is that kind of like chomping at the bit, like, I want to say this. King of Swords can take a breath and deliver the message in a very measured way. So he can kind of get that across without seeming like he's too emotional about it, or like he's going to say things in a way that's too cutting. Also has a tendency to see the world through his view, so he speaks his truth. So it is a masculine energy that is very logical, really wants to look at a situation and kind of like, I'm seeing like a list and like, okay, this is what we have to do. It's almost a way of like managing anxiety. You know, this is what we have to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Diplomatic. Yes, that's the word. Diplomatic. King of Swords is very diplomatic. Does see the world through, you know, his own version of the truth. So if this does resonate, or if this is an energy that you can recognize or resonate with, let me know, and we can have a chat about it later if you want. But that is that King of Swords energy. It's almost like rising above what you thought you could. So that's kind of what came through with that. It's like rising above a situation and handling it in a better way that you didn't think you were capable of. So again, that was for Liz. That was King of Swords. All right, we did go a smidge over this week, but that's okay. So again, card of the day, card of the week was the Moon. We only have a few steps left on the Fool's Journey. How exciting. So if you are just joining me, or if you're a regular, we only have a few more cards in this kind of Fool's Journey series. And I want you to kind of think about what you want me to do next. A couple ways I can go forward, because I do want to keep the lesson format. I can do each card. So I could go through every card of the suit and kind of do the same deep dive that I've done with the majors. I can look at, you know, suits. I can do, I have a few mind, but if you have something in particular that you want me to do, yes. You have had to try to calm down your Facebook mental breakdowns. Yes. So, but in doing that, you've kind of like logic has prevailed. Like, you know, the cool heads will prevail. And you kind of, so with the Facebook mental breakdowns and like the rants that, you know, people put up, what I found helpful is to have a friend like on call. Hey, I'm about to go bonkers. I'm about to go batshit on this person. Let me get this out. So if you have a vent person, that can help, you know, can kind of let off that steam. That's what I did with one of my friends, you know, that kind of had had for a while a habit of kind of going off online, and what she meant to say was not exactly how it came out, and it just caused more problems. But she would, kind of get a hold of someone and get it out, and always preface that with, hey, I'm going to say some nutso shit right now, so just work with me. And, so Liz, I know Facebook right now is a really, it's basically a powder keg for a lot of people. Yeah, Krista, I gotcha. We're wrapping up, but I will get you if you did share. Kind of have that person where you're like, just reach out to them and say, I need to get this out before I look like crazy pants on the internet. All right. So again, I will get a card for Krista, and then I will be wrapping up. Again, thank you all so much for joining me. If you have not yet and you would like to, go ahead and like and follow Three of Cups Divine Arts. You can also hit the little plus sign or whatever to get notified whenever Three of Cups goes live. There's a lot of great shows that happen almost every day of the week on Three of Cups. You can like and follow my Divination Station page. I also have a group there. Yes, I would love that. And yeah, I am setting up video chat readings only right now, which is good for everybody else. If you are in the Buffalo area, I hope to get back out and about soon. As soon as safely possible. I do hope everyone out there is being safe, and whatever that means to you, whatever extent you are going to stay safe, keep you, your family, your loved ones safe, even if it means not going to see them. Because I know I would like to go see my grandma, but I'm not, because she's 96 and she doesn't need that. All right, Krista. Five of Pentacles. So again, this is for Krista. Five of Pentacles is kind of a feeling of being left out, of being pushed out and pushed aside. It's a feeling of looking around and almost, seeing other people in a place where you once were or where you would like to be. But really all you have to do is kind of turn that corner. And it's also about looking at what you have. So the figures have each other. So it's about looking at gratitude, kind of having a gratitude practice. And that can very often turn this feeling into abundance. So it's a scarcity mindset. Gratitude can kind of shift that to abundance mindset real quick. So that is for Krista. Had a lot of new people here. I do want to thank you all for that. And I will be, I'm doing a couple more lives this week. Resourceful Raven on Wednesdays, just readings. It's a sister group to Three of Cups. If you're witchy inclined and you do want to be a part of that, pop in the search bar, type out Resourceful Raven, the group will pop up. You got to answer a couple questions to get in. I do readings there. Krista, you're welcome. I do readings there Wednesday nights at 8. Kind of similar format as this. So join me there if you would like some readings on Wednesdays. And I go live on the Rising Goddess page on Wednesdays as well, Witchy Wednesdays. Little short witchy topics from the page of the shop that I generally read at on Wednesdays. So I'm gonna wrap up here. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. This was a great, I hope you enjoyed the moon as much as I did. And I will be reaching out to, I believe Nicola and I are about her thing. So again, thank you so much. Have a great night. Stay safe.